Today's Digital Investor Podcast is a case study on how you can build a small, simple content website from scratch out of just ideas in your head and then sell it for $15,000 when it's only making $300 a month. So today we have a very special repeat guest to the Digital Investor Podcast and our community. Everyone loves and knows so well Yvette. Yvette, thank you for coming on today to share your story.
Hello, Matt. How are you going?
Yvette, I'm going very, very well, especially seeing you there today, smiling, looking beautiful as always.
Oh, Paulie.
I should say, if you don't know Yvette, I know Yvette, you're a bit of a legend in our community. I think you've been on our podcast how many times now?
Five or six times, yeah.
You're often up on our stage because Yvette is a mum of four. She was working, what crazy hours did you used to work?
Yes, from before the sun got up to, after the sun went down, basically. Yeah.
Yep. At the fruit markets in Sydney, a very physical job.
Yes.
She, life change, retrained in digital skills with us, took to it like a duck to water. But most importantly, if you're listening to this, what's really interesting about Yvette's journey, she's tried every strategy that we teach here at eBusiness. So that includes building websites from scratch, buying and selling websites, and then also the digital agency strategy. And today's case study, why I've asked Yvette to come along and share with our community her recent success, what we're going to look at is one of the sites that she started from scratch and recently just sold, as I said, for $15,000. And what we want to look at is how she got the idea. We'll treat this as a case study. So we'll look at how she got the idea, how she built it, how she created the content, how she monetized it, and how she improved it, and then to the eventual sale, what she did to sell it for such a high price. And it's a fantastic website. So Yvette, thank you for coming along to share all the details of this particular little content site. So let's rock straight into it.
Sure.
You being a legend here, but how did you get the idea? Because this is in a sport you know nothing about, isn't it? It's just a standard content blog that you built here.
Yes.
How the heck did you get the idea?
So at one of your boot camps, I think it was we were still online, and just listening to the other champions, they were coming up saying, their content sites, their successes. And while I'm watching the conference or the webinar, I'm just tapping away at keyword research, which I love doing. And I was looking for, now that I've been 32 three times now, so I'm getting to the stage that I'm sort of in that senior, sort of mature age. Okay. And so I wanted something, I enjoy exercising, so I wanted something with that senior twist on exercise. I thought, well, I understand what's going on there. And everything that I put in, seniors tennis or seniors exercise or anything with that, the word pickleball kept coming up.
Ooh.
And at first I thought it was like a joke, or I've never heard of pickleball ever. And so when I saw, repeatedly coming up with whatever niche was seniors, I thought, what, I need to just see what this thing is. What is pickleball? And it all started from there. So basically from watching other champions and thinking, I can do this too. And it all just started from there and snowballed.
Perfect. And we had lots of fun on some coaching calls, didn't we, on that topic?
We absolutely did.
It was really cool.
Yes.
And so what's interesting for me, and I think for anyone listening to this, what was your next steps? Like, how do you go from this idea? You're seeing this new trend that was obviously taking off in America at the time. This wasn't that long ago, just a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
What was your next steps then?
So basically Google search and your favorite saying, right click open. Click open, and everything that I could find on pickleball. And my favorite article was, I think it was NBC News or one of the news companies over there. Their headline was, pickleball, the fastest growing sport that you've never heard of. And I thought, yep, that's me. And so I basically just went through all my keyword research, everything that I could find on pickleball. And I just read and I read and I read. And this is going back when AI writing wasn't a thing.
Yep.
So everything that I had to write was from me. I had to understand what
Yeah.
I was reading, and I
Yeah.
had to look at this that, I'm a beginner. I have no idea about this sport. So, what do I want to know that I can tell people? What do I need to explain to them? What do I need to show them that they can then say, you know what, I've come here because, mostly beginners would be looking at this. That they're the ones that are wanting the information. So, for me, I thought this is a great way of providing information for someone that's in the same position as me. And it was basically just reading lots of information and then writing, which I love to do on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah. So
And so look, every week, I'd write one or two articles. If it was raining, you'd get 3 or 4 articles,
yep.
and then just trying to find images to sort of suit what I'd written about. So
Perfect. So this is just like literally a side hustle. You
yeah,
did it part-time. Like I said, if it was raining, you stuck at home, you wrote a few more articles. So you wrote the articles yourself. You didn't
yes,
even bother to outsource them.
no,
And you just came at it from the point of view of you're the perfect custom avatar.
correct,
You want to know about pickleball. So you just researched it
yep.
and wrote articles. What was the typical kind of articles that you would write?
So it was basically, I broke it down into several sections. So the rules, I thought people
Yep.
need to know the rules of this game because obviously, if you've never heard of the game before, it's not like tennis where you've got a rough idea. So the rules, strategies,
Oh, yeah?
there was a strategy with it. And then I'd written, a couple of dozen of these sorts of informational ones. And then I thought, okay, now I want to sort of start monetizing it. So then I started writing, doing reviews on, the paddles and the nets and the balls and keeping it very simple to start with. I mean, if you're going to play, you need a paddle, a net, and a ball. So I started with that. And then as traffic started to build and as things started to grow, then I could put in, gear, shoes, etc. But I kept trying to keep the information, 75% just pure information and then
Yep.
25% that monetizing it, just so it didn't look spammy. I didn't want people to think, they're just coming at it from, I just want to make money out of this, which I did. But I thought I need to sort of get people in. So, and again, so they'd come back as well. I wanted people to continue to come back to
Awesome.
the website. So that
Good
was my
thinking.
main goal with it all.
And Yvette, you've hit the nail on the head. That's what SEO is about these days.
Mm.
Even in this, especially in this day and age of AI, that's why that site is a particularly good site. Like you've built it very genuinely, trying to help people, and you put yourself in the shoes of the customer because you were the customer. Now at this
Yeah.
stage, you hadn't even you don't play pickleball. You still
Never.
weren't.
I haven't
No.
even seen a court and every now and then I'd go into a sports shop,
Yep.
and they didn't even have paddles. So I thought I'm not going to buy one.
And
If I can see one, in a store here, fair enough. But I thought I don't want to buy one. So it really was everything I was learning. And I also thought of it, yes, I'm the main customer, but my sister,
yep.
Erin,
Yep.
she plays as well, and we play together. And I think my story was I was looking for some sport or some exercise for my elderly mum to do when I kept stumbling across. Yeah, so I had the whole sort of story worked out in my head, and then
Yep.
we just kept building on top of that.
Yeah, so this is like your persona. That was the
Yes.
persona that you don't. If you listen to this, Yvette doesn't really have a sister that played
No.
pickleball that you played pickleball with.
And
That
my
was the
name's not Patty either.
no, no. Oh, and we should mention, are you happy to share the name
Yeah.
of the site? Because it's a really
Yeah.
cool name, because I think that's a big part of it too. You're very, like, you love a bit of humor. You always
Mm.
make all of us laugh. What was the name of the site that you came
It
up with?
was Pickleball Patty, and I was Patty.
So you're Patty. So
I
I
was
shouldn't be
Patty.
calling you Yvette. I should, okay, Patty. And
Yeah,
and your
that's
sister
it.
was who?
Erin.
Erin. It's so
And
cool.
I had a little logo drawn up with
Oh
a
yeah.
blonde lady with a hair and a pigtail, and she's got
Yep.
so the whole thing was just, tongue in cheek, a bit of fun. And as
Yep.
much as I could, I tried to, put that humor or lightheartedness into all my writing as well.
Awesome. And so generally, so this is just like a fun side hustle passion project, right? And you got a cool idea. In general, what would you like? You're posting once a week?
Be about that once or twice a week. And like I said, if it was raining, I would then sort of be able to put two in. And I think I started with one a week. And then when you get that sort of that slight inflection that people are coming, then you think, right. And so you put two or three for a while. And then obviously you're going to eventually run out of ideas. So then once I started getting quite a bit of traffic happening, I would go back to one a week. So it all depended on, what was happening at the time with traffic.
Awesome. So on that note, are you okay if for our our listeners, but obviously if you're listening to this, you're going to have to go to our website and look at the article. Are you okay if we share some of the screenshots that you shared with me of the traffic? So you're okay if I put that up? Because I think it really does tell the story. So if you're listening to this, you probably should jump over to the article when we put it onto the eBusiness Institute blog side, and because we'll put up a vet's traffic so you can actually see how the stats work. Because you were saying, can I read out what you said to me in the email when you sent it through? It says page views were rambling along until March, and then I got a good rise in traffic to over 100+ page views per day. So up until that point, to get to that 100+ page views, can you remember, was that still just posting one a week type thing, and every so often a couple?
Yes. And look, I needed to make sure that this was going to work. So one a week and just that consistency. And then when it hit, I probably
views a day.
Yeah. And then I'd probably go to 2 or 3 a week. And look, also every time Google did an update, it would fall down again. I think, so I'd have to sort of go back and do, and try and either change some of the wording a little bit of the original ones, or just go on to, and think, right, we'll do 3 a week now for the next month or so. So it really was up and down with Google updates sometimes.
So if you're listening to this and you've been through a few Google updates, you know what Yvette's talking about, or I should say Patty is talking about. He's talking about here. It's not always a straight line if you're listening to this in terms of increasing traffic. It does go up and down. But the cool thing is sites bounce back, and you found that throughout the life of this site because you built such good EAT in it, what's called expert, like in Google's eyes, you're really helpful to people. You were providing really helpful content. So really, to summarize, if you're listening to this, what Yvette's done is what we teach here. It's a very simple content strategy. And what Yvette did slightly different is she wrote all the content herself in general, but there is some really smart stuff that you also did, Yvette, later on that I do want to cover off here for any listeners. So realistically, the strategy is just posting content, 1 or 2 articles a week. That's it. There's nothing complex about that. And then Yvette waited till it got to 100 views a day, and then you decided to monetize it. How did you start to monetize it? And again, you're happy for me to share that graph in the Yep. So how did you start to monetize it?
So first thing, Amazon. It's the easiest. I put that on. You need to get your 3 sales in 180 days or whatever it is. I got that. And so once I had Amazon sort of chugging along with it, I could then start. This is an
Amazon affiliate account? So you just recommended pickleball bats and nets?
Yes.
Do you remember what your first sales were?
Oh, I think I made 20 cents.
No. I mean, what were the products? Like, was it just
it would have been paddles. Would have been paddles.
So that was a big seller, was it?
Yes. And I did, paddles for children, paddles for women, paddles for spin, paddles for, whatever I could think of, the different types of paddles, because, there was exponentially so many more different balls. A ball is a ball is a ball. So it was the paddles, trying to get the different spin on that.
And looks like here on that graph that you, on the chart that you sent me, in that 6 months, it was only, just so you all realize, it's not groundbreaking at this point. This is a brand new site, right? So it was it says here $185 in commissions, which is still pretty, that means you're proof of concept. This is working. It's just a side hustle. Hey, and it's a fun project. So you hit $185 in commission. So it looks like here. Now, this is really interesting if you listen to this. Amazon said that you made 4,700 in sales, and Amazon, being Amazon, are just so generous, they gave you $185. So what did you do at that point?
I got smart and I went to someone else.
Good.
And there was another company that were selling online,
Yep.
Pickleball Central, and
Right.
they started with a 10% commission. And I thought, well, that's so much better than, I think Amazon was giving me 3 or 4%,
3
whatever
or
it
4,
was.
yeah.
And I was with them for, I don't know, 6 months or so. And all of a sudden I got an email from them. And I was thinking, I'm starting to put a bit through them. And they sent me an email saying, thanks for all your support. We'll put you up to 15%. And I thought,
Right.
thank you.
Nice.
So
And
I was getting 15% commission then from them. And I still had Amazon on the site
yep.
to some degree, but then most of my links, my affiliate links went to Pickleball Central to get
Okay,
the 15%.
so at that point, this is pretty cool. So at that point, you were generally making around, and if you're listening to this, especially when you're a beginner, Amazon is absolutely awesome place to start. If you're a beginner, it's it's proof of concept. The affiliate commissions aren't great, but at least it's all automated. And it looks like you were making about the grand sum of around, say, $15 a month off Amazon, but if you do what Yvette's done, I was nearly going to call you Patty, what Yvette did, which is then go to a much higher affiliate payout, it looks like you were making around $280 a month
Correct.
on average. But then at Christmas, what did the sales jump up to? Because this is very typical we find for affiliate sites, isn't it?
Yes, I made $1,400, $1,200 or $1,400 just
Awesome.
over the Christmas time.
Yeah, that's where you can get a real boost with these little tiny niche sites, and that's seriously cool. Like just from an idea like that in such a cute niche and a tongue-in-cheek thing. So one thing I will mention too, you did start looking around for even more because you're getting successful at this point. That's just off small products that aren't really sold for very much money. What did you do then?
So there was a ball shooting
Oh yeah.
that you can
Yep.
play by yourself, and so I then put quite a few articles on how to practice by yourself. Find a wall or find someone, and
Cool.
so I could then lead into one of these ball shooting things.
Yep.
And you can see how technical I am with this sport.
Yeah. Don't even know the name of
I
it.
don't even know the
A ball
name.
shooting thing.
Yeah, and so there was ones that you could buy on Amazon, cheap ones, but there was a fella that had designed a military grade stainless steel
Hey.
bells and whistles for $2,500 per thing.
So this is in America.
This is in America, so per unit. And so I wrote to him and said, I can put an article, I'm getting this many people a day, I can put an article or two on about you. Are you happy to give me some money for it? And he said, all right, I'll give you $100 for every one that I sell. And I'm thinking, okay. In the end, I sold 4. So I got $400 for it. So I thought, that's great. And then he said to me, can you help me sell these in Australia? And I said, mate, by the time you convert, I said, they're $3,500, $4,000, and I said, look, of course I'll help you.
Yeah. Good answer, Yvette.
Yeah. So that was, another little on the side hustle that was there as well. So, and look, he benefited, I benefited.
Yep.
So, it all goes round.
And again, a learning. Well, so really at this point, it's a straightforward content site model, really well done. Like you've posted good, solid articles, you tested out with Amazon, get some affiliate commissions coming in, and then you step it up, get better affiliate offers, but you still keep Amazon on there because Amazon is the ultimate selling machine.
That's right.
And you never know when someone, they buy a pickleball bat off Amazon, but if they go ahead and buy something like a computer or something really expensive, unrelated, you still get a commission for that. So that's
Correct.
where you can win there. But what I want to do is change gears and bring it back to the traffic strategy, because you started to play with some other interesting things that I think our listeners will be really interested in, that seem to work really well in a niche like this, in passion niches.
Yeah.
Can you talk about, there were two things that you did that I've got you, and we'll put up the traffic report so we can show people what you and I are talking about here. But you got your VA to help you on another traffic strategy that worked quite well, which we've seen work really well on lots of affiliate sites, by the way. What was it that she was doing for you?
Yeah, so she was taking the articles that I was putting on my website and she was posting them onto Pinterest.
Awesome.
And look, I don't use social media at all. I don't like it. I don't, it's not for me. But I thought, yeah, I think Pinterest is the style that it
Yeah.
would sort of suit. And
Yep.
we were getting 1,500 looks, whatever they call them,
Yep.
a month.
Yep.
And I recently just had a look, and the person that purchased the site off me still has it on Pinterest, and they're getting 10,000 a month.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's gone on and grown heaps more. It's 10x
yeah,
in terms
yeah,
of, well, so there you go. That's something, you know, a lot of us aren't into social media, but it works really well with content sites now. Certain sites, or a lot of sites, will benefit from it. Affiliate sites can benefit from. And was that easy for you to implement with your VA?
yeah. This is what she does, and I just said, and so she repeated things or whatever. She did what she does, and I think she was posting 3 times a week,
Okay.
something like that. So
So she was just literally cutting
yeah,
snippets of your written articles and sticking them on Pinterest and putting an image with them, presumably, and that's it.
correct. Yeah, that was
And
it.
that's all there was to it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
she was your normal VA. Is she in
yes,
like the Philippines or something, or
correct. Yeah.
in the Philippines? Yep. So
Yeah,
it's
so
just
I
a
use her
normal
with my
VA you get off.
agency. Yeah. And so this was just another thing that she had to do for me.
That's awesome. Okay. So you added that into as a bit of a content driving strategy. So again, it's pretty darn simple at that point. Now, I do want to bring up the second thing that you played around with, which we talk about in Champions all the time as well, is getting actual, because at this point, has a vet, aka Patty, ever played pickleball in her life or even held a bet? No. So, and you still don't, do you?
No.
So talking about getting experts on, what did you do to kind of fill that bit of a gap?
So then I went on to Upwork,
Yep.
and I thought, all right, I could get someone to write for me. But what I then came
With
across,
presumably like an expert, someone who had actually played the game of pickleball for real.
yes, that's it. But then I thought, well, I can get them to write me their story. It
Ooh.
then becomes what their interaction with pickleball. And like
Yep.
I was looking for a writer, and in Upwork they have, my interests and things like that. And someone said, I'm interested in pickleball. And so I went and I said, what's your story? And she was a divorced woman that had moved house, bought a property with a rundown pickleball court in her backyard, or a tennis court or whatever. So the local community got together and they were then coming to her house on a Wednesday as a community thing and using her court in her backyard.
Ooh. Yep.
And so she's telling me the story. I'm thinking, oh, this is great. And then the local news crew came out and did a story on the local community using her house. So she had the video of this news story, and she was a writer. So she wrote me this beautiful story about what her life happened and all the rest of it. And so I paid her $20. And
Wow.
so I put that on, and then I thought, well, this might be something. So I just put out a general job on Upwork. Who's played pickleball? And for $20, I'll publish your story, and I'll link back to you, your
Oh,
Facebook
yeah.
or whatever you want.
Yep.
So it helps you. So I had a few people write, and one fella said, if I write about my mum playing pickleball as well, will you pay me twice? I was like, okay, fine. So I have Jonathan's story and Jonathan's mum's story.
All right.
And so I had about a dozen people from around the world. It wasn't just America,
Nice.
from around the world, say, we've played pickleball. And so I just published their story on as well.
Well done of it. That's because it's easy content to get created. You didn't
Yeah.
have to be the expert. You basically just paid someone else to do it. it's legitimate, real, helpful content for people. Plus, they send in their own photos, their real
That's it.
photos. In this day and age of AI, that's awesome content to put onto this site. So that is so cool. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, how can I expand my content? Just do what Yvette's done. Jump on the Upwork. I mean, we teach this here at eBusiness. It's simple. Just pay other people.
Mm.
You'd be amazed at how cost effective it is too. Experts don't necessarily want to be paid heaps. They just want the link back or something like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can get it done for free, particularly in passion niches. A lot of people will share, but it's smart to offer $20 on Upwork because that way it's a no-brainer for everyone. There's no stress on anyone's part. It's just an easy way to do it. So I love that. Well done. And then, like you've said in your email to me, I'm going to read out what Yvette's written because she's, as you probably tell, she's a bit of a joker, and she's written to me. She's put a subheading in the email to me. She says, "Show me the pickleball money." So, and we'll share this in the article as well. So again, go and read the article. But you've broken down how much it cost you in the 2 years. Can you remember, or do you want me to read it out?
It was about, I think, $600, $700 or so, all up.
Yep. So domain, hosting, VA, and then your time, obviously.
Yeah.
So Yvette hasn't factored, or Patty hasn't factored that in. This was a site of passion, Patty. So
Yeah.
but you said so about $600, and then your total commissions during the 2 years. Do you remember what you wrote down to me?
I think it was just over $6,000.
You were spot on. So for
Yeah.
$600, you made $6,000 in commissions. So that's net. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
That's not bad for a side hustle. Plus, though, the sale. Let's now finish on that. So you've got 6,000 in commissions. This thing's just ticking along on autopilot at that point. But why did you decide to sell it? Because it's a good site.
Yeah, look, life became very chaotic for me. And so I needed to just get rid of things that weren't very important at that time. And also, I thought, pickleball was really, I was watching the numbers, and the traffic was just really kicking on, not just with my website, but the actual pickleball, the whole community, the whole thing in America with pickleball was really, they're pulling out tennis courts and putting in pickleball courts. So it was just going berserk. And I thought, that you should sell obviously on an up. I'd had it for 2 years. Like I said, I needed to get rid of some things in my life. And so I thought, I'll sell it now. Now's a good time. It's popular. So,
Yvette, thanks for sharing that. I want people to see, if you're listening to this, people sell perfectly good websites for all sorts of reasons. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's what you're going to do if you're thinking of buying. Don't always freak out that someone's selling a perfectly good web asset and you're thinking, why are they doing that? Well, this is a legitimate case. People want to move on. It's like same with properties, people get bored with their properties and they move on. Do it all the time with websites. Also, you got a lot happening. You got other business interests, like online business interests, and this isn't a big part of your portfolio. So you just sold it. And of course, what was your decision? Like, how did you get such a high price? We have to give a bit of a shout out, don't we, to one of our favorite brokers, or
Absolutely.
one of our favorite graduates here at eBusiness Institute in our community that we all love as much as we love you, Yvette, as well. How did you decide to sell?
So Joe Burrell, he is just a legend.
Joe, if you're listening to this.
And I just thought, if I'm going to get a good price, Joe's the person that can do it. And
so you've seen him obviously come up through the ranks in eBusiness as one of our graduates. You see him constantly talked about. He's one of the if you're listening to this, Joe's one of the highest ranked website brokers on the Flipper platform. He's very, very good at selling websites because he's been taught by the best of it. I mean,
absolutely.
All those years ago, Joe and
I knew his pedigree. So I thought,
there you go. That's the word. And so going through a broker like Joe, though, did he make the process easy as well? Besides doing a legendary effort, but what was it like, your experience there?
He basically sent me a questionnaire, which I filled out. Anything that I wasn't as detailed as what he would like, and he's looking at it from a buyer. I'm looking at it as a seller. I
as a
want to get rid
seller.
of it. Whereas
Yep.
he's saying, these are the things I need to know if
Awesome.
I'm going to buy. And so it was good dealing with him because it made me think differently as well,
Yep.
and put in
Interesting.
the information that I needed. And the fact that we did put such detail into the information, it then
Yep.
becomes very easy for someone to
Make a
buy.
decision to
And
buy it.
and his name is so good that you've got that instant trust. Okay,
Yep.
Joe wouldn't touch anything that was rubbish. And so the whole thing was very smooth and effortless. I mean, it took me maybe a couple of hours to fill out the questionnaire. He
Yep.
came back to me a couple of times. We, fine-tuned things, and then it was all over to him.
And
And my thing is, if I'm paying you, it's your job. And so I don't get involved at all. It was up to him to make this work.
awesome. And I'm going to read out what you said to me in the email. This is what it's like working with a professional like Joe. He said, I chatted with Joe on a Zoom call, then filled in his questionnaire. A few screenshots later, my website was ready to be listed on Flipper for auction.
Yeah.
Joe is the consummate professional.
Yeah.
And and a big shout out to Joe. Well done for such an exceptional result, because you actually sold it. How long did it take to sell?
I think it was a week's auction.
Okay.
They're
Yep.
about
So,
maybe 5 days, 5 to 7 days.
yep.
And it started, Joe likes to start with a $1 reserve.
Yep.
And you think, well, okay, I'm putting all my faith into you to start it at $1. And he gave me a valuation
Yep.
of what he thought, and I agreed with it. And do you want me to say the valuation?
Yeah, well, I'll say it. It look like a site like that, that's a very good high quality site and should sell up to around 30 times the profit. And I agree with us. Joe initially valued it around 10 grand, didn't he?
Yeah, 9 to 10,000. Yeah,
Yeah. And then what did it end up selling for?
15.
Woohoo! All
Mm.
right. Well
Yeah, it
done.
just kept going up and up. And
Up.
I think from memory, there was 118 or 138 bids in the
Wow.
end. It
Okay, there's
just,
that much interest in it because it's
yes,
such a good quality asset. It's a very legitimately built, that's a solid asset that's worth that sort of money. Um,
yeah. And look, people were, $50, $50. They
yep.
weren't big increments,
No,
but it just kept ticking. And in the end, it was two people wanted it,
there you
which
go.
is, the best type of auction.
Yep.
And it just kept going up and up and up and up. And if I can just, I'd like to read out what Joe wrote to me.
Yeah, go for it.
He said, I am very pleased to say that the auction just ended with the highest bid being 14,800, so 15,000. This
Yep.
is well beyond our expectation, but I'm curious to know, how do you feel about it?
And Yvette,
I
how
wrote back
did
and
you feel?
said, I feel good. And I wanted to put the James Brown little gift with him
Yeah.
doing the splits and whatever, but that was exactly how I felt. I thought, good
Awesome.
on you. So,
That is
yeah, it was
so
great.
Wow, Yvette, what a cool story. You must be very happy. It's just, it's so cool and it's inspirational for everyone as well to hear this, but also I think it's very educational to hear, especially in this day and age of AI and all the what's happening in the SERPs. Here's you've just gone and built a site from scratch, just like we've always done, sold it 2 years later, 15 grand. It was a simple content site. Like you said, nothing fancy. You'd never
No,
even played the sport. It was just, you start out with the standard Amazon affiliate stuff, went to higher level affiliate offers. There's no, there's nothing complex about the
no.
strategy at all. It all works seamlessly. And now you've had a really nice win. You've gotten to inspire a whole heap of our communities. I want to say a big,
And I
big
got a
thank
nice outdoor setting with it. I used the money to buy an outdoor setting. So, it's great. And look, the only thing with it was consistency. That's the
Awesome.
only
Yeah.
thing that it was just writing. Sometimes I wrote 300 words, sometimes I wrote 1,000 words. It depended on what the information was about. I wrote about court colors. You could color your court a
Right.
purple or a blue. Just
Yeah.
very simple things, and those sort of simple, low traffic keywords, they were the highest, one of the highest pages that people were coming to.
Yeah,
So
low competition. That's
yeah,
awesome.
low competition. So it's simple things like that there was nothing difficult about this at all.
That drove the site. Well, that is just so awesome. Big thank you. And if you're listening to this and you've never, for some reason, have never done our masterclass, you need to do it because Yvette's featured on there. Do you know that, Yvette? You're on our free
Oh, I'm
masterclass,
everywhere.
and you and Jasmine, your daughter.
Yeah.
But make sure if you want to learn, if you're interested and you're totally new to this, and you want to learn how all this works, get in and do our free masterclass. You'll see how we buy and build these sorts of content sites and how we sell them. And you've just heard from Yvette how she's out there doing it. And big congratulations, Yvette. Thank you for coming along today and
Thank
sharing your
you.
story. That was
Thanks,
awesome.
Matt. Thank you so much.